My fellow traders, what's happening? Man, I can't believe it's already Thursday. I just can't believe it. We had so much fun this week. Really, these last couple of weeks, they've been going by too fast. You know, there was a time where I couldn't wait for Friday to get here a few weeks ago, and now I'm wishing that they come a lot longer. You know, it's take a lot longer to get here, but it's just one of those things. So we'll talk about what happened today and yesterday in a second here, but I want to ask you this question before we go forward. You know, is your trading stuck in a rut? Do you feel like your trading is just stuck in a rut? So if you from down south here, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But you know, a rut is like a ditch or a hole or something that your truck gets stuck in, a car gets stuck in, it's full of mud. And you know, if you continue to spin your wheels over and over again, you keep giving it gas and trying to drive out of it, you're going to keep digging yourself deeper and deeper and deeper. Eventually you're going to get so deep that you're going to need somebody to help pull you out. And you don't really have to get to that point. Some people are at that point already, but you don't really have to get to that point. You know, there are things that you could do to help keep you from being too stuck in the rut, and it's going to help you pull yourself out. And most of you guys have the tools in your toolbox already to help yourself get out of that rut. You know, you can't, your trading just doesn't seem to be going anywhere. You keep finding yourself in the same spot day after day, week after week, month after month, and in some cases year after year, and you're just stuck. So you don't want to continue doing the same things over and over again. So there's some things that you can do to try to help you get out of that. You can focus on yourself. Number one, you've got to focus on yourself. Stop looking at stuff outside of you. Stop looking at other people and what they're doing. Okay? The point is, if you're stuck in a rut, you've got to pay more attention to yourself, because most likely you've been looking at other people, trying to compare what you do with them, compare your results and say, hey, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. Forget about it. Focus on yourself. And then look at doing something different. If you come in every day and you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, you're not going to get any different results. Okay, you're not. So you need to look at doing something different, figuring out what's causing you to get stuck. And once you figure that out, you can get out of the hole. And that's what mentoring is for. And in mentoring, you're going to have to do work as well. You know, it's not all the person doing the mentoring. You're going to have to do the work as well. You know, because everything I do, I take cues off of what you're doing and what you're going through. And a lot of guys, they're doing the right things. They just have to continue and stay focused and don't change and be consistent. And they'll be surprised how quickly things start working. But you have to start doing something different than what you've been doing. You have to find what's not working. You pick your trading apart piece by piece, and you try to figure out what's working, what's not working, and look at doing something different. Then you want to take a break. Sometimes it gets so bad you just got to take a break and just stop. And I've had a couple of traders that's done that. You know, and that's where the lifetime membership comes into play, because you can stop for 3 months and not worry about having to join again or spend more money or whatever. You take a break, come back, and you got everything is right there waiting for you. And I was talking to one of the guys today, and they brought that point up. I didn't even think about it. He's like, man, I love it because 2 years ago when I took a break, I just felt like I wasted all of this time, and I was frustrated trying to come back too fast. But he had to take a break because of his job. And, he came back this time and he is stress free and killing the game. So that makes a big difference. You also want to challenge yourself. Everybody should have that competitive spirit inside of themselves. We're not competing against other people. We're not competing against the market. We're competing against ourselves. Challenge yourself to be perfect in your execution every day. The execution part is the only thing that we could be perfect in, that we can strive for perfection, because we're the only ones that are clicking the buttons. Now, sometimes the broker or the platform can mess you up. That doesn't count against you. As long as what you're doing and you're working on perfection and you're challenging yourself every day to do the right thing, it's gonna help you. And exercise is key. A lot of people like to start their day after they exercise. Up until everything I had to deal with, I had loved to go to the gym early in the morning. I don't think I'm going to start back. I don't know. These cases pop back up again, so I don't know if I'm going to start back going now. But I was ready to start back going. Going early in the morning, there's 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, there's not a whole lot of people there. But some people exercise before the market, some exercise at lunch, and some may go after the market. But whatever the case is, exercise is going to reduce stress. It reduces anxiety, which is why I like to do it in the morning. And all of these things, stress, anxiety, can inhibit thinking. It can cloud your judgment. It can kill your motivation. If you're depressed about something, So I don't know if you guys read that book, the habit book that I told you about. Exercise is one of those keystone habits. All right, so it can not only make you stronger physically, or it can make you stronger mentally. But I wanted to share that with you right quick, because I think it's very, very important that you do not continue to dig yourself deeper and deeper and deeper into a hole. Because you're going to get to the point where you're not going to be able to get yourself out. And you're going to have to hope somebody can help pull you out. Because I know some of you feel like you're in quicksand right now. All right, so this is a trade from Tuesday. A couple people said I didn't put the P&L up, and I think I did forget to do that extra click for the P&L to come up. But this is the P&L from Wednesday. So if you're keeping up with it, this is not Wednesday, Tuesday, when I traded BA, BYND, and RCL. All right, so yesterday, I didn't get to do, I have classes on Wednesday, so I don't get to do the recaps. So BYND, this was the first trade I took, trying to get the opening range breakout. And of course, in the opening range fashion, the first attempt fails, pulls back, second attempt works. But I was a little bit late getting in this. I don't know I can't remember what happened now. That's just how I disconnect from the previous day. But I was a little bit late getting in. I should have been in like right around here once we broke this high. but a little bit late. Still got some profit on this, and almost got to 163, but it just couldn't pull back and stop me out. So nice little trade there. The next trade I took was Chewy. This one was after lunch. This thing broke down, and it bounced back, stopped me out, and then I waited for it to set up again. Once it set up again, I got in and got another base hit. Just hit the first target and came back and stopped me out again. So, yesterday was a lot of moves that were, I wouldn't call them fake outs. It's just the market was a little bit choppy. These stocks, maybe the people playing it, they know how retail traders work. They know kind of the strategies that we use. And every now and then you run into a stock where they're going to play with it or manipulate it a little bit. But that's fine. Always there's an opportunity to get back in and make your money. That's what we just manage our risk. Big guys just hold against this. They don't care. They've got a big range that they can use for their stop, and they just wait for it to come back. We can't do that. We're trying to grow our account. We can't take that risk. So we have to adhere to our stops, come back, and do what we need to do. Roku. This one, maybe did I take this one before? Yeah, I took this one before Chewy. Chewy was the last trade I took. So Roku, once it broke down out of this channel, I didn't get to draw it. But once it broke down and made a low, shorted it, got a nice move there. This came down really close to me being able to take profit again. It just missed my entry, so it came back. And this thing was screaming back, so I went ahead and clicked it and called it a trade. I wasn't going to let it come back and stop me out at break even, because that's exactly what it would have done. And next trade, it rejected as we were coming back through. I got in and almost got to 110 again. Almost got to my target there. Stopped me out and tried to catch it again. But once it bounced off of this level, I went ahead and took it off. You can see this candle closed back above this level. This candle built off of it and started pushing up. So clear sign I needed to get out. So not a very good day yesterday. Ended up losing $258.58. 18 tickets. So more tickets than what I really would like to have. But you can see I had just small losses, because a couple of these like Roku and Chewy I got base hits on that kind of took up some of the loss. But that was my yesterday. And so today we woke up to the spot gapping down. Now we knew going yesterday with this thing selling off the way it did, and not holding that 323 level, it was pretty much known that we probably would come back and close this gap. You don't know. I mean, we could have woken up tomorrow and this thing gapped over 325 and kept running up. So the market's probably catching up with itself. There's no way in hell the market should be running the way it's running, or should have been running the way it's running with everything going on. I noticed a lot of optimism with everything opening back up, but our economy is officially in a recession. Regardless of all the good things coming out, the Fed pumping money in, the federal government giving stimulus money to individuals, that's a Band-Aid. And that Band-Aid's coming off. All right, it's coming off. And we're going to start to see the real effects of what's going on. You've got 18 states now that has an increase in their COVID-19 cases. Now, admittingly, we've learned a lot and we're able to treat it better, but people are still getting sick. A lot of people are still dying. And the what we were controlling the spread at one point, now it's starting to spread out again. And so there's a lot of stuff that we've taken for granted. I think the market is taken for granted. But it's going to be interesting to see how we close the week tomorrow. That's going to say a lot for how we're going to have to approach next week. So tomorrow is going to be really, really interesting. I have no predictions. I just have to wait for when I wake up in the morning, and first thing I do is I look at the SPY on my phone. Pull up my mobile TD Ameritrade app, look at the SPY on my phone just to see where it's at. It's the last thing I do before I go to bed at night. First thing I do when I wake up is look at where the SPY is. So it's a day-by-day thing. Wherever it is tomorrow, we're going to work it out. Now, I was saying this morning, because this market had got down so much, because the stocks had gapped pretty much 70-80% of their ATR, they don't have any outside forces acting on it other than the market. So I'm not going to expect it to move too far outside of its average true range. You're going to catch those runners every now and then, but for the most part, everybody was down, and I was not looking to short anything that was down big. Now, there were a couple of stocks I looked at short, was GRUB and mRNA, because they were gapping up. And I'm like, those I would short. But nothing else I was really looking to short yet. Right out of the gate. Was waiting for later on in the day to see if the market was going to offer up shorts. And obviously it did. But I went into this morning a little bit cautious. Now, my day started out, it should have been a monster home run trade for me. A monster home run trade. For some reason, my platform screwed up. And this has never happened. I mark it in to make sure that I get in all of my shares I want to get in. I'm only trading 300 shares to 500 shares, so there's no issue with me getting in on a stock that's trading as much volume as the stocks trade that I trade. So, but I get in, and I realize as I'm starting to take profit that I only have 150 shares. And it throws me off, okay? Because I took half up here, and I realize I'm looking to put my other order in, my stop loss in, and I'm like, oh shoot, I only have 75 shares. What happened? And I'm looking at, and I've got a pending order. So it only filled me 150 shares, and I don't know why. And it's still right now, I don't know why. But it completely messed this whole thing up. And you can see, this thing never would have stopped me out. Never would have stopped me out. This was my first profit target here. And this thing started coming back in. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I was confused at that point. So I just took it off. And didn't really try to get back in. This thing never pulled back to where it was going to give me an entry, and I just missed this. This was just an incredible, incredible move. One other noteworthy thing that I saw, I was looking to potentially, get back in this, because this thing can keep going. And we were putting in a triangle here. We kind of had the flat top here. We had the the higher lows building in, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, bam, bam, can't believe it, could not believe it. And I had a member that was actually short this and caught this, and I told her she's gonna have to teach me what she saw to get short here, because to me this just looked incredibly bullish. But may be able to learn a new trick here. But this was a crazy move. So I missed the big move on ZM, but you can see there are huge moves in this to be made. A bunch of good trades out here. So BA was the next. Well, no, GRUB was next, but I guess I got him out of sync again. So BA, this popped up, and I told you there's no way I was going to short BA down $23, $24. It had to bounce, and this bounced, and I had to wait for it to, give me a good entry here. And so I waited. It put in this channel, so I just waited for it to put in the channel, and I was going to trade it either direction. Whichever direction it broke the channel, that's where I was going to trade it. So it broke it to the short side, and you could see I got in on like 30 seconds too early. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but I jumped in a little bit too early. It's like I was waiting, and I was like, I'm gonna get in. And you're gonna see in a minute why you don't want to do that. But I jumped in early a little bit, and thankfully the channel break confirmed. I got my first target, got my second target, and my final target was going to be the 5-minute opening range low. And then I was going to look to reset. But we bounced a little bit sooner. All right, we bounced a little bit sooner and ended up stopping me out. Back up at break even. And we pulled back, made a little bit lower low, but we never confirmed the loss of this low, the low of this channel we put in. Because what it did, it bounced, put in a new low here, and made a lower high. So put in, kind of kept the same channel here. This was the bottom that now became the top. And so we had to wait for this thing to come out of the channel. Completely missed it because I was trading Roku, and completely missed this move. And that I've been waiting on, but didn't think it was going to happen because it looked like it was stuck in this rut here, and it came out of it, and I was stuck trading Roku, which you'll see in a minute. But I did make a couple bucks on BA, so I was happy with it. GRUB was the one that I skipped over. This didn't confirm a break of the high here. It didn't confirm it. I just jumped in anticipating, and I got burned up on it. So not waiting for this to confirm, I got burned up, and that was that. Can't say anything else about that. I was rushing it and got caught. All right, so Roku. You can see this thing made a huge move. Here was a nice breakdown here, but I was at lunch and didn't really get to mess with this. So what I did was I waited. Here was the 5-minute opening range low. We didn't quite confirm it here, but we put in a low. And then we came up, we bounced, we put in this high. So I had a channel that I could trade off of. So if it broke the high, if I had room, I could trade it. If it broke the low, I had room, I could trade it. So this is the reason why I didn't have BA, because this broke before BA. And of course, in true Ed fashion, the one that breaks first doesn't make a good move. You can see we just got stuck in this rut, for about 35-40 minutes. Finally, it broke down. I was able to get to my first target, and then it ripped back up on me. So another little base hit here. But this is exactly what I like, how I like to trade it. It doesn't work perfectly all the time, but it keeps me from getting stuck in these, trying to trade these ruts and getting chopped out. Most of the time when you lose your money, it's because you are trading in ruts. You're stuck in these channels and it's just chopping you up in the afternoon. You have to wait for it to break out of the channels it puts in. Once it breaks out up or down, usually after 2 o'clock, you're going to get some good value. So today, even though we had a lot of fun, I know that there was a lot of potential. I just was not in the right place at the right time to take advantage of it, or had some things happen that prevented me from taking advantage of making as much as I could. But 395.84, I am very happy with that. Nothing to sneeze about. The biggest hit I took was GRUB. You know, that was the mistake I made today. You add this to the total and we would have had a killer day. And then Roku had, ZM had the platform not messed me up on that. That would have been an incredible trade. So the potential was there to have an awesome day today. Things just didn't work out, but I'm not upset. I'm not mad. You know, we're going to come back tomorrow, see if we can close this week out strong. I'm really curious to see where this market ends up and what kind of value it's going to give us tomorrow. So that wraps it up. I know it's a little bit longer than the last couple ones, but I had to do 2 days of trades, and I had a lot to go over. So you guys have a great night, a great evening, and I will catch you tomorrow.